Alright guys, this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to use the basic multicam functionality in Premiere CS5.5. So I'll just fire up the program. Now, multicam, for those who are unfamiliar, is when you shoot a scene with multiple cameras and then you can sync those up in the Premiere package and cut between them almost as if it's a live shoot. So I'll create a new project. I'll save it to a sensible directory of my choosing. And I'll name my project. I'll just call it Multicam. The next thing I need to do is select a suitable preset. So I shot with a camera that filmed in AVC HD, 1080p, 25 frames a second, and I'll call the sequence Multicam Sync because syncing things is one of the first steps. I'll import my video footage. So I'll double click here and navigate to where I've kept all my footage. I've got 4 cameras, each with a video file inside of them. I'll import all that content, and that content can be downloaded at the link at the bottom of your screen, or if you're reading this through the blog post, there should be a link for you to download a zip file of all this footage as well. So once it has in fact imported, we've got each of our video files here, and somehow we've got an extra one. We'll just delete that, we don't need that. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. I'll bring each of these video files down into the timeline. Video track 1 for camera 1, video track 2 for camera 2, 3, etc. 4. Now I've got a few extra video tracks I don't need, so I'm just going to go sequence, delete tracks, delete audio tracks, all empty tracks. Okay, just to clean things up. The next thing I'll do is just move this a little bit to the right so I've got a bit more space to play with. I'll zoom in, and you can see here, I'll just turn the first 3 tracks off. I've got this spike in my audio, and this is where I clap, and this is what I'm going to use as a point to synchronize all the clips together. Okay, I'll turn the others back on. Now, I'll spin out each of the other audio tracks, and I'm just looking for that spike point. Here it is there, so I'll just move that across, zoom in. Yep, that's pretty good. It won't be exact in terms of a sync point, but you should be able to get reasonably close. Let's zoom in a bit. I'll go with that. And the last one. Okay, so not exact, but pretty close, and that should work well enough for us. The next thing we need to do is ensure all our endpoints start at the same point. So I'll just drag that back, drag that back, drag that back. So even though this is technically our sync point, Premiere will use our endpoint as the point at which to synchronize all these clips together. So I'll just move it back to the beginning of our sequence. There we go. Now to actually make Premiere sync these things together, I need to go clip, synchronize, and I want to choose the clip start or my endpoint as our sync point. Okay. So that's now in sync, but we can't do the multicam edit just yet. We need to create another new sequence. I'll call this multicam edit. Okay. And I'll drag the sync sequence into the edit sequence. Can't really see too much just yet, so I'll click on this sequence and go up to clip, down to multi-camera, and enable it. And once you've done that, you'll get this sort of setup. Now if you're not seeing this window, just go up to the window menu and ensure that multi-camera monitor is turned on, and then you should see this. So each of our 4 streams of video from each of the 4 cameras, and then the currently selected one. And you might want to just move that across just to create a bigger window. The next thing I'm going to do is just find the point where I actually want to start my video. Oops, don't want to do that. Where do I want to start? The reason I'm doing this is because I know I screwed up my lines in the first couple of takes. Okay, about here. And then I'll change my endpoint, ripple delete, and we should be good to go. Now the actual multicam edit process is this. We click up in the multicam frame and we press the play button. And as soon as I've pressed play, I then click on one of these 4 camera angles and Premiere will switch to using that camera. And when I've completed my edit, I'll hit stop and all that information, all that switching information between all the cameras will be automatically written down into my timeline. So let's give that a go. I'm going to choose this as my first shot. I'll press play and I can start to click on each of these shots and it's going to cut, you can see over here, between them. So this is just like live switching. I can choose on the fly what my shot is going to be. So I'm just clicking on them. The other thing I could do is use the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I want to do it really quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's switching between each of the 4 shots as it plays back. Now obviously I'd try and do this to match what I'm doing in general, but we're just doing it as an example for now, so this should be enough. So I'll press stop and you'll see that now there are all these cut points down in the timeline. These are all the points at which I switched from one camera to another. And if I go back to the beginning and play it, and if I look over in the monitor window here, you'll get the same sequence of cuts occurring as I was doing in real time with the multicam window. Now you're probably not going to get things exactly right the first time. The cuts might be a little bit out, but all we need to do is use our rolling edit tool, or N on the keyboard, and then we can click on the edit point and refine that cut point. And because everything is synced, the rolling edit tool works really well to ensure that you get the cut point exactly where you want it to be. So that's pretty much it. Sync everything up, bring up the multi-camera window, hit play, and start clicking between the windows to choose the shot you want, or use the numbers on the keyboard. Now if you completely screw everything up and you're not happy at all with your edit, just hit play again and start the process once more. So if I just stick with this video, for example, and I don't cut away from it for any reason, it's actually going to overwrite all these edits I made down here. And even if I do start to click between them and then do some extra edits, it will overwrite my previous work. So as you can see here, I stuck with one shot for a long time and then I cut quickly between them and it's overwritten what was previously there. So if you screw it up, the great thing about multicam editing is you can always go back and fix it up later.